Okay, we're at part 6 of Marvel Snap meets Clash Royale. Part we have the field effects and a little bit on the start and the finish, so we can go through the whole loop and play a game. We officially have a game. And I think we will get to at least part 10 or to 12, maybe 10, 11, or 12 parts to get this done. Next, after this, will be some favor cost rates and moving the cards. I gotta see if that's a viable option or if it's gonna be too much. And then after that, it's just a deck builder and debugging and fixing stuff. So the main thing is the card with the card effects and the moving of the card in the graveyard. As we add more effects, more debugging and stuff, but for the most part, it's pretty straightforward once we have the workflow. And then there's always some special case scenarios. So we'll go over those. I want to first show you where we're at, since what you're probably doing is browsing through. Just make sure I'm actually going to finish this game, right? Because that's what it does. So I want to show you what this part is about. Okay, so we have. Oh, sorry, we went over. You're waiting for the other player. Now you're both inside. So I should add the names now underneath the hood, so we don't have to wait. And I'm gonna fix this. This is the one I have to fix. Is the order of the canvas. Anyways, I'm ready. Now I'm waiting for the other player to ready up. We're both ready. Now we start, and we go. And everything's synced. You can tell. And then we have 3 field effects that are available right now in here. One is your power is inverted. The other is that the card text is not visible, so I just hide everything. And then +1 power when you summon a card. So let's see. So this one is no card text, but you can still see the power. So I'm wondering if I need to talk to my friend and say, do we just not display the power? Because we have, and I'll show you later, some stuff. This is the same one. This is okay. This is the +1. So this is Temple of Zeus. So now you'll see that I should be able to get one here. One. Okay, so it's working. And then I'll try to play in these. As you notice in here, we have an error, a bug where the transform is not in the right place. So I'll have to figure that out. And it's spawning here, but it's not. Yeah, so something's going on with the second player that we have to fix. Doing weird stuff, no matter what. So I'll double check. I just want to show you the last. Yeah, something's wrong with this. So it's probably the prefab that. Oh, so what's? So one thing that I did change is that I can grab a card even if I don't have enough cost. So like, see, I can grab the 10 power card, but it shouldn't let me play it unless I have the energy, because some of the effects are specific, just how much a card cost now. So I changed that, and I'm gonna show you some of the things that I worked on. So we have the inverted power. In a minute, it should give me the. There's the inverted one. So every time I put one here, they'll invert. So I'll have a -5. So I'm gonna lose this one. As you can see, I need to fix the second player, but these are the things that I did. The hardest thing that we'll have is being able to do this kind of stuff where the card switches zones field. It's gonna get hectic, and so I don't know how I'm gonna do that. So I gotta figure that out because I don't have a drag option for the cards. And we also have to take into account that there's a difference between a field that will allow you to see, and there's not enough time now. I will, you already know that you lost at this point. So I think it's important to, yeah, this thing is messed up on this one. I don't know why. Something's wrong. Maybe it's a different, but now we go back to the beginning. So there's an end to it. It tells you who won. There's still things that are buggy that we need to figure out. And what I can do is I'll play in the editor as a second player to double check any errors. But I can guess where they are at. Let me show you. So what we did now is we have all these booleans for the field effects. I'm not gonna run through I'm gonna just briefly show you what I did first. What I first did is I did these 4 panels to like looking for opponent, waiting for opponent to ready up, the ready button, and the end game. It says winning. That's just the text. Okay, so they're all just very simple, straightforward. And all I do in here is a simple check. Okay, when both players are in the game, instead of starting the game, I just put the ready button, and then we just do RPCs to see who's ready. So see when it says players ready, I turn on the panel that I need to, and then I do the RPC that says, okay, we're ready. Both of them are ready. Then we'll start the game. Pretty straightforward. And in here, the one thing I want to go over to make sure because this is useful regardless of what kind of game you do, as not for network, for multiplayer games, is sometimes you want to close the room or the session so that way no one else can get in. So if you accidentally set this to more players than 2, it can get, I don't know what it'll do. It'll probably break. But maybe you want a viewer. But anyway, and then the other option that you have is visible. So let's say you want the game to be accessible. We want someone to be able to join the game if they disconnected. Then we can save in a player pref where they were at before, like what session, and when they come back, they can come back to this session. This is visible makes it so that no one can join it randomly. They have to access it with a specific route. But that's the difference between these two. Is visible, is accessible by the randomness of the dot start, the runner, or if it's open or close. So close means that no one can get in, even if they know the code or they want to get in, they won't allow them. So this is the easiest way to just do it for now. And we can test the other here. That's it for the loop, right? The other thing is up here, you already seen this. We just check the winner and we set the text. So just checking the winners and displaying what happened. And then we have a countdown that helps us return to the loading. Okay, so the field effects. So we have, and it's all based off this, what I showed you earlier with the fields. Player prefab. We have 3 here. These are all the booleans. I'm gonna go over each one. The only one I don't have is the swapping of cards, because that's something that we'll try to do later in the next part. And so we have the field duration is pretty straightforward. Cards have inverted power. So what happens is it checks. We have a add the power. We do the power check. Power check all this. Hey, anytime there's a boolean for an effect that needs to change the power, we do it here. So in this one we invert it to a negative. This one we half it. And then we have this one where it says summon here gets +1. Since it's a summon, it needs to be constant. So it needs to be added to the card itself to do the effect, because there's a there's something specific, right? It says when it's summoned. So you can, if you, and that's why probably he has asked to be able to move the cards between zones, because if you can move it, you summon all your cards into that zone, and then you move it somewhere else, so you can keep playing to that zone and so that they're more powerful. And it only happens on the summon. So if you move them into that zone, you can't do much because it won't grant it. It's only when you summon it there. So, so that's why instead, when we spawn the network card here, we update the ID. We have right here check, say, hey, is the network summon with power? So if we do, we just add +1. So it's just a quick check. It can be done other ways, but this is the fastest way I figured out. I just decided to do really fast. The other, as you notice, the other ones here, card text display or the face down until location closes. It's just a boolean for like, okay, show text, what it is. And then I need to actually what I need to do to make sure this works, cards here play face down until location closes. I just do that. way I can set it to true or false. Variable is text display here, cards to text display. So I need to do should I show? It should be like that, yeah. You don't want to display the card, then and so there's a bunch of edge cases that can happen when you have these. So I have to be really careful about what's going on. And I'm still missing some stuff, obviously. As you saw, it was being spawned in the wrong place. Yeah, so we have card summon get +1. We talked about the disable the text here. We just did that one, and then the face down. So this one is actually pretty interesting because we have to show it after. So what happens is when we're rendering and the timer's is done, what we're gonna do is, hey, if this is specifically says to put cards face down, we're gonna go through all our network cards and change the face down to false. And then in the card, when this changes, it will swap it. And then this will wait to flip face goes down. Because the idea with this is that it'll flip the cards, so it'll give you a little bit of delay to make sure that everyone gets to see the cards. Depending how long the animation is, if they'll swap, you see the points, and then you know who wins. So that's the trick there. Have the power. We did that. Now this one is gonna be super hard. I don't know how I'm gonna do. This is pretty easy. Some of them are super easy. And here, when we summon the card, if it's the first time, we are actually starting the scene, so we don't need to do it. So that's why I have this up. If it's not the first time, then we could just keep doing this. And the last few, so this one's the one that actually cost me, and it's the last thing we're gonna talk about, is the card cost. Because remember, we talked about we need this in the field, and it used to be in the hand. In the hand, we check before we even drag it. So do we have enough favor to drag this card into the? Because I didn't want to deal with it after. And because of this power to cards cost less or cost one more in the field, now we have to check in the field, not in the hand. So I switched it. This is the field network field. It says, hey, do the card cost one less? If this costs one less, we just lower the favor cost that comes through here. Okay, let me show you where it used to be. And remember how we had in the previous tutorial part, we had a kind of like a chain of functions, and sometimes that is like overwhelming. But in this case here, it's actually a really good thing because we used to like here. I have to keep that on the player controller on the UI. When we do a hard click here, we used to do the check here if you have enough favor. So I commented out and I just said, okay, we're gonna select every card. And then okay, now we're gonna do the mouse up and are we allowed to play in zone? And so I just went down and until I got to here and I say, okay, I need a function that will check for that. And then I hear place in card zone. Okay, now I can dive deep in here because in here it means we are hitting a zone. So now we have the checks in the zone. And in here we have all the previous checks. So if it passes all the checks, we're in the right zone with the right player, and we're not maxed out in cards that we can play. We'll check if the field is done, the timer's done. Then after all those checks, we then check, okay, can we play the card? This is the favor cost on the card. And it used to be that we passed down the cost in here. But instead, I wanted to pass the card down to check the case we need. But because we need the card name and the card favor cost. Before, I think we had the display name. And we go in here where you see this. So now, because the field is the one that has the effect, and so the field has to check. So once we add effects to the cards, it's going to get tricky like this. So that's why I'm going to figure out the zone movement and the cards on the next video. If you like these videos, if you want me to go slower, faster, let me know. But I'm here to show you that, like, how simple some of these games are when you take the time to plan things out and set goals. So I've never done a card game before. This is my first time, but I've done multiplayer games before, and that made this a lot easier. And so sometimes you have to break down, if you want to make a game and you have a list of 20 different things that you need to learn, that's going to get very long really fast. So my advice is to break it down so that you're learning 1 or 2 things per game. So that way you don't get frustrated, you don't get burnt out, and you have fun. I've been having fun doing this game, and it's just been a couple of weeks on the side. As I have time, I get in and I add more, and the more I spend on it, the funner it gets, and the more I want to work on it. So when you plan things right, things work out and things are more exciting to do. And that's what I'm trying to do for you guys. So if you have a game that you are struggling with and you need help, let me know in the comments. Or I have a school community that is free where we help each other build games and finish our games and apply these specific principles to your game. And so join us so it can help you finish your game. See you in the next video.